Welcome to Medina, a sacred city where ancient palm groves, humble mud brick beginnings, and modern marble plazas meet. From the oasis of Yathrib to the city of the Prophet, Medina witnessed the Hijra, the birth of the first Islamic community, battles, empires, railways, and modern transformation. In this video, we will travel through time to see how Medina became one of Islam's most important holy cities. Long before the name Medina became sacred, a green oasis rose from the lava fields and dry valleys of the Hijaz. Wells, date palms, volcanic stone, and caravan paths shaped the earliest human life around Yathrib, giving desert travelers water, shade, and a reason to settle. Yathrib grew because geography protected it and fed it. The oasis stood inland from the Red Sea routes, surrounded by black volcanic Harit fields and fertile date groves. Families, farmers, traders, and tribal communities built a world of wells, gardens, mud brick homes, and markets where Arabia's desert economy met settled agriculture. By the early centuries CE, Yathrib became a mixed oasis society where Jewish tribes such as Banu Kainuka, Banu Nadir, and Banu Qurayza lived alongside Arab tribes that later included Aws and Khazraj. Fortified houses, palm gardens, contracts, rivalries, and alliances turned the oasis into a tense but prosperous tribal landscape. Before Islam transformed Yathrib, the Arab tribes of Aws and Khazraj struggled for power across the oasis. Their rivalries divided gardens, wells, and neighborhoods, while older Jewish clans remained important in agriculture, trade, and local defense. Yathrib was not yet a holy city. It was a wounded oasis, searching for political peace. The Battle of Bu'ath, fought shortly before the Hijra, left Aws and Khazraj exhausted by years of blood feud. Victory did not heal the oasis. The fighting created grief, distrust, and a hunger for a leader who could arbitrate beyond tribal revenge, making Yathrib ready for a new kind of community. Men from Yathrib met Prophet Muhammad's followers near Mecca during the pledges of Aqaba, promising protection and a new political future. These oaths quietly changed Arabian history. A divided oasis invited a persecuted religious movement, and the road from Mecca to Yathrib became the road toward an Islamic society. In 622 CE, the Hijra brought Prophet Muhammad and the early Muslims from Mecca to Yathrib, and the oasis became Al-Madinah, the city of the Prophet. Migrants and helpers formed a community built not only on blood ties, but on faith, mutual protection, and a shared civic order. This moment became the starting point of the Islamic calendar. Before entering the heart of Medina, the Prophet's community stopped at Quba, where Islamic memory preserves the first mosque associated with the new society. The simple prayer space represented more than architecture. It marked arrival, safety, discipline, and the transformation of an oasis into a landscape of worship. The Prophet's mosque began as a humble courtyard beside the Prophet's residence, built with palm trunks, mud brick, and open sky. In Medina, this simple enclosure became a place of prayer, teaching, diplomacy, judgment, shelter, and public life. The mosque gave the new city its physical and spiritual center. The Muhajirun from Mecca and the Ansar of Medina were joined through bonds of brotherhood, while the Constitution of Medina outlined relations among Muslim groups and allied communities. The city became a political experiment, a sanctuary of faith, law, defense, and negotiated coexistence in a fractured tribal world. In 624 CE, Medina witnessed a defining spiritual turn when the direction of Muslim prayer changed toward Mecca. The city remained the home of the growing Muslim community, but its worship now faced the sanctuary of the Kaaba. Medina became both a refuge and a command center for a wider sacred geography. The Battle of Badr was fought outside Medina's Oasis world, yet its shockwaves returned directly to the city. The small Muslim community gained confidence, political legitimacy, and a new sense of destiny. Medina's markets, homes, and mosque now belonged to a community that had survived its first great military test. In 625 CE, the slopes of Mount Uhud, north of Medina, became a place of pain, courage, and warning. The battle brought loss to the Muslim community and left the city shaken. Uhud became more than a battlefield. It became a permanent moral landscape of sacrifice, discipline, grief, and remembrance. In 627 CE, Medina faced a Confederate siege, and the defensive trench, dug on vulnerable approaches, turned the oasis into a fortified community under pressure. Wind, hunger, fear, and endurance shaped the crisis. The city survived, and Medina's identity hardened as a place defended by strategy, unity, and faith. The Treaty of Hudaybiyah was negotiated outside Medina, but it changed Medina's future. The agreement with Meccan opponents gave the Muslim community space to grow, send messages, form alliances, and strengthen its political position. Medina increasingly acted like the capital of an expanding religious and diplomatic order. The conquest of Mecca transformed Arabia, yet Medina did not disappear from history. The city remained the Prophet's home, the administrative base of the early Muslim community, and the place where revelation, governance, and social reform had taken civic shape. Medina became the city that nurtured victory before power returned to Mecca. In 632 CE, Prophet Muhammad died in Medina, and grief filled the city that had sheltered his mission. His burial beside the Prophet's mosque made Medina permanently sacred to Muslims. The city became a place of visitation, reverence, memory, and longing, carrying the emotional center of early Islamic history. After the Prophet's death, Medina became the seat of the first Caliph, Abu Bakr. The city faced the Ridda Wars and the urgent task of holding the Arabian community together. From Medina, decisions were made that preserved political unity and began the early expansion of the Muslim state. Under Caliph Umar ibn al-Khattab, Medina governed a rapidly expanding realm stretching beyond Arabia. Wealth, envoys, soldiers, legal questions, and reports from new provinces flowed back to the Oasis city. Medina's modest streets became the administrative heart of an empire, while retaining the memory of its simple prophetic beginnings. Under Caliph Uthman ibn Affan, Medina remained the capital, but imperial growth brought tension, complaint, and rivalry into the city. The compilation and standardization of the Quranic text became one of the era's defining religious legacies, while political unrest moved dangerously close to the Prophet's mosque and the Caliph's residence. In 656 CE, the assassination of Caliph Uthman in Medina shattered the city's early unity. The violence marked the beginning of the First Fitna, a civil conflict that moved the political center away from Medina. The city remained holy, but its role as unquestioned capital of the Muslim world was broken. After the rise of the Umayyad Caliphate, Damascus replaced Medina as the main imperial capital. Medina became less a seat of government and more a city of scholarship, memory, pilgrimage, and noble families. Its political power faded, but its moral and religious authority deepened across the Islamic world. In 683 CE, Medina suffered the Battle of Al-Harra during rebellion against Umayyad authority. The conflict brought trauma to the city of the Prophet and left a painful memory in Islamic historical writing. Medina's sacred status did not protect it from imperial violence, and its people carried the wound for generations. Under the Umayyad Caliph Al-Walid ibn Abd al-Malik, the Prophet's mosque was expanded and transformed with more permanent architectural ambition. The project enlarged the sacred precinct and absorbed the Prophet's burial area into the mosque complex, turning Medina's heart into a monumental focus of imperial Islamic architecture. During the Abbasid age and the centuries that followed, Medina flourished as a city of religious learning. Scholars preserved hadith, legal memory, and the practice of the early community. Students came not for palaces or armies, but for living traces of the Prophet's city and the authority of inherited knowledge. Medina depended on pilgrimage roads, wells, forts, and caravan protection, linking it with Mecca, Syria, Iraq, Egypt, and Yemen. Local sharifs, regional powers, and distant caliphs competed to support or influence the holy city. Medina's economy breathed with the rhythm of visitors arriving to pray and remember. In 1256 CE, a major volcanic eruption east of Medina sent lava across the Harat landscape and terrified the city. Historical accounts describe fire, darkness, and fear near the sacred oasis. The eruption reminded Medina that its holy calm stood beside ancient geological power beneath the black volcanic fields. After the Ottoman conquest of the Mamluk Sultanate in 1517, Medina came under Ottoman protection as part of the Hejaz. Ottoman sultans invested in security, charitable endowments, repairs, and ceremonial care for the holy cities. Medina became a jewel of imperial piety connected to Istanbul by pilgrimage, money, and prestige. During the early 19th century conflict between the First Saudi state and Ottoman Egyptian forces, Medina became a contested holy city. The struggle was not only military, it was a battle over religious authority, pilgrimage protection, and control of the Hejaz. Medina's sacred landscape stood at the center of regional power politics. In 1908, the Hejaz Railway reached Medina, linking the city by rail toward Damascus and changing the experience of pilgrimage and imperial control. Steam engines, stations, workshops, and telegraph lines brought modern technology to the edge of the Prophet's city, shortening journeys that once took weeks by caravan. During World War I, the Arab revolt cut Ottoman power in the Hejaz, but Medina remained under the determined command of Fakhri Pasha. The long siege isolated the city, strained supplies, and turned the railway into a lifeline and target. Ottoman withdrawal in 1919 ended centuries of imperial presence. In 1925, forces of Abdulaziz ibn Saud took Medina, bringing the city into the emerging Saudi kingdom. The transition changed administration, religious policy, security, and the management of pilgrimage. Medina's sacred identity continued, but it now belonged to a new political order centered on Saudi rule over the holy cities. From 1952 to 1955, the Saudi state carried out a major expansion of the Prophet's Mosque, replacing older urban fabric around the sanctuary with a larger, modern prayer complex. Concrete, marble, organized courtyards, and new circulation reflected the challenge of receiving growing numbers of worshippers in the age of mass travel. In the 1970s and 1980s, Medina expanded beyond its older oasis pattern as paved roads, hotels, utilities, hospitals, and organized visitor services reshaped the pilgrimage city. The intimate historic town increasingly became a modern religious metropolis, balancing memory with the practical needs of millions of Muslims arriving from across the world. The King Fahd expansion, launched in 1985, transformed the scale of the Prophet's Mosque with vast prayer halls, plazas, marble surfaces, minarets, escalators, air conditioning, and giant shaded courtyards. Medina's skyline and pedestrian life changed as sacred space had to serve crowds on a scale unimaginable in earlier centuries. During the 2000s and 2010s, Medina's central districts experienced intense redevelopment around the Prophet's Mosque. Hotels, roads, commercial blocks, and crowd management systems improved access for visitors, but many historic structures and older neighborhoods disappeared. Medina's modernization became a story of service, scale, memory, and difficult heritage choices. In 2018, the Haramain High-Speed Railway opened to the public, linking Medina with Mecca, Jeddah, and King Abdullah Economic City. Pilgrimage entered a new transport age as trains crossed the desert at high speed, turning the ancient sacred route between the two holy cities into a modern rail corridor. In 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic disrupted travel to Medina and reduced the normal flow of pilgrims and visitors. The Prophet's Mosque, usually surrounded by movement and prayer, entered a period of controlled access, health measures, and haunting quiet. The crisis showed how deeply Medina's modern life depends on global Muslim mobility. In the 2020s, Saudi Vision 2030 placed Medina within a broader transformation of tourism, transport, heritage presentation, and knowledge-based development. Projects such as Knowledge Economic City and improved visitor infrastructure aim to make Medina more livable while preserving its identity as the radiant city of the Prophet. Medina today is not only a destination on a pilgrimage itinerary, it is a living Saudi city, a global Muslim memoryscape, a place of prayer, scholarship, hotels, transport systems, museums, markets, and quiet devotion. Its deepest power comes from the contrast between humble prophetic origins and vast modern guardianship.